You and what are you?
You're asking me the most difficult question. You see, I have a problem here. The problem, it's not really a problem. That question never arises in me, but many people ask that question, who are you? And I tell them that's a wrong question. You see, I think grammatically speaking too, but it should be, what are you? Or something like that. But in India for centuries they have been asking this question, who are you? And the assumption is that there is something there other than you know who you are or whatever you are. But I have a problem there, you see, in the sense that it is very difficult for me to create an image of myself and tell myself this is me. But by the time I try to complete the image there, then it is not there anymore. So only in relationship with that it is possible for us to form images of others. That is always very difficult for me. See, the other day I was talking to a friend of mine. I don't understand what you are talking about, you see. So it is very difficult for me to create an image of you, how you look like, the moment I turn that side. I always think in terms of and talk in terms of the functioning of this physical living organism only.
Okay, if I look at the functioning of this physical living organism, what does it do for a living, for example?
You see, we live in two different worlds. The natural world. And this living organism has a tremendous intelligence of its own. It doesn't need to learn anything to function and live in a jungle. But unfortunately, our culture has created a different kind of a world in which we have to function differently. Society, culture, or whatever you want to call it, has created this world for us in which we live in the world of ideas, worlds of thoughts, worlds of experiences. And the society says that we are going to educate you and fit you into this framework. And here is the cake for you. If you want a share in that cake, you have to fight for it. The more you fight for it, the more larger share you will have in this cake. So we have got to be educated, and there is no way we can survive in this world without fighting for our share in that cake.
Well, if I could sort of interrupt and say that the question really is, what is it that you do for your bread? Let's forget about butter and cake. How do you make a living?
I have been very lucky, see, because I was born rich, and when all that disappeared, somebody else came along and provided me the chance to survive without working for my bread.
Tell us how that happened. Where were you born, and what's the story?
I just don't want to go into that. That's all. You see, past history. You see, that may not be of any interest to our viewers or to me. I can't really go back into that question, you see. So people very often ask me, so why do you travel? Do you have any compulsion to travel? And this year I have gone around the world twice. Why do you travel? They very well ask me the question. That question sounds very funny to me because you never ask the birds that come all the way from Siberia to a small little place in Mysore state, what you call bird sanctuary. And after that they go back.
You've been reluctant to sort of have labels attached to you as teacher, philosopher, or what have you.
God, man, guru, and
whatever.
all that kind.
You have a reluctance.
You see, when people ask me, what are you? You see, what do you do? You see, not necessarily for a living. I have to tell them, I'm a philosopher of some sort. I did my philosophy, but I am not a professional philosopher. But I have discovered something extraordinary for myself. And despite everything I did, I stumbled into something extraordinary.
You just mentioned miracle, but you've also referred to it as a calamity that was to, dare I use the word, transform your life.
I have very purposely used the word calamity, but actually it is not a calamity. I use the word calamity in the sense that you search for something all your life, you see. For example, you see that there is a self here or God out there, and suddenly it hits you like a lightning that where is this self that I have been searching all my life? You see, it shatters everything that you have experienced before. The whole image that you have built around that is shattered to pieces. You expect to be in a blissful state, in a state of ecstasy, full of love, full of compassion. But in its place you find that this is just a living organism, pulsating with life. What is there? And what you are left with is just the pulse and the beat and throb of life. And there is nothing there. And this comes as a shock because you realize that all your life, all through your search, you expected that you would be something like Buddha, something like Jesus, something like, you see, Muhammad, all the great teachers. And so that came as a shock to me and said, you see, this is a calamity. See, you are expecting something to happen. You are questing all your life, you see, for something that does not exist. You see, that came as a shock to me. So that's the reason why I use that word, calamity, and also rejected totally and completely the idea of transformation, because what is there to be transformed? I didn't find anything there, so there is nothing there to be transformed. And so all that talk of transformation, radical or otherwise, is just poppycock, I said to myself.
This happened in your 49th year.
49th year.
What happened? Did it sort of happen one morning? Was there a light or lightning?
No, the question that, you see, first I started with the question, you see, I want to be enlightened. I want to be like Buddha. I want to be like Jesus. I want to be like all the great spiritual teachers. And so how to be enlightened? You see, that I pursued for a long time. And somewhere along the line I discovered, through some sort of a mystical experience, I might say that, for want of a better and more adequate term.
Can you describe that mystical experience?
You see, the mystical experience is within the framework of the knowledge still. And that's, I consider, and it's a very petty little experience. You experience what you know. That does not in any way free you from the knowledge you have acquired. So you are still, you see, caught up in this idea, and you owe everything to the one that has helped you to experience these things. You are still dependent on that. You have not actually freed yourself from that. That's why I call it mystical experience. That itself is an extraordinary thing because it awakens some sort of an intelligence there in you. And from then on, you look at everything differently. You experience the same old things in a different way and try to share that experience with somebody else. Or you interpret the text, you see, in a different way, in a more meaningful and more expressive way. But I said to myself, this has nothing to do with what I have been interested in. This is a petty little experience. And then when you still continue and try to go beyond, you have no way of going beyond that mystical experience, because that has a stranglehold on you, exactly where the other experiences had a stranglehold on you. There is no way you can get out of that trap, because that becomes more important to you because it is your own experience. What you consider to be the experience of others has become your own experience, and that, you see, throttles and chokes you all the time. And the struggles to get out of it is more difficult than what it was before. So at that time I could have established a tremendous worldwide organization and invited the whole world and shouted from the tops of the world, here is something which I have discovered for myself. Come ye and listen to me. And that is also the thing that is responsible for the idea of changing the world. When once you are freed from the demand to bring about a change in you, the demand to change the world around you also comes to an end.
The question really is that what is it that you experience? You've told us that the consequences of that experience. There's this moment of, I know you're averse to the word enlightenment, but this moment of realization, of self-awareness, if I can call it, or whatever phrase. I don't want to get stuck in the context of the vocabulary of it.
All right.
But what was the moment?
You see, the moment that I realized that I am in the state of Buddha, I am in the state of Jesus, I am in the state of all those teachers, I was emulating them as an example, wanting to be like them, gave me this idea, you have not freed yourself from the knowledge that is passed on to you, what enlightenment is, and who is an enlightened man and what his behavior patterns are like, I said to myself, this cannot be the thing. The knowledge that I have of this enlightenment is still there. This cannot be the enlightenment. There must be something other than this. You see, although I said to myself, I am in the same state as Buddha, Mahavir and all the other great teachers. So suddenly, somehow, you see, the question whirling through me as it were, suddenly disappeared and left me with this, what I don't know, what I am left with. So I don't know how it happened, why it happened, when it happened, and has anything happened. I really don't know.
Do you believe in the uniqueness of this experience?
I don't go around the world shouting that this is something unique, this is something extraordinary, this is something which nobody else has experienced before. You see, what I am left with is the feeling that I am just an ordinary man. So I don't go around, you see, telling that I am an ordinary man. But the demand to change anything, to become something extraordinary other than what you are there, somehow disappeared. The very demand to be free from anything isn't there anymore. How it happened, I really don't know. So there is no way I can share this with somebody and help somebody to stumble into this kind of a thing.
Is there any significance, any function, any purpose for you in keeping your body going?
No, I not at all. You see, the same question many people ask me. You see, it does not know that it is alive. It doesn't need and demand anything. Why do you feed this body? Because the body needs some energy to move around. You see, you don't expect me to do the toileting here. You see, for purposes of cleanliness, for purposes of neatness, for purposes of whatever word you want to use, this needs some energy, and that is all that is necessary for this body. Otherwise, the life energy that is there is something extraordinary, and it expresses itself in its own way.
But would it matter if the body ceased to exist?
It does not know that it is alive, and when it is dead, it does not know that it is dead. I was saying the other day, the nature is interested in the human bodies only as atoms that can be used somewhere else to maintain the balance or the level of energy in this universe.
What is it then that motivates you to keep on living?
I have no choice. You see, I did not come into this world of my own choice, and I have no reason, you see, to quit this world. When the time comes, when the body wears down, and when the nature needs these atoms somewhere else, then what we call death takes place. Death is nothing but for this body and in nature. Reshuffling of, you see, the atoms, and when they are needed, the body goes. It wears itself out. It may be possible for me to keep this body going through genetic engineering or some other things that we have at our disposal to keep this body going longer and longer. But what for?
You've acknowledged human suffering. You've also said that what happened to you was a spontaneous event. You cannot transmit the techniques of that being possible for other people. What is it that an individual can do, or is there a process of inevitability to an individual's suffering? Where does a catalyst for his own?
I don't think individually there isn't a thing. I don't like to use the word damn, the cursed word, at all. You see, collectively means war. You see.
Well, at the individual level, what is it that a viewer, me, well, you've already managed it. What is
I have
it
not managed it through any volition of mine, through any effort of mine, through will of mine. Let me use this riding a tiger proverb or simile, Chinese proverb, I suppose. You cannot jump off the tiger because of the fear that the tiger might gobble you up. Somehow I was thrown off the tiger. I didn't even know what happened. So suddenly, see, I find that I am not anymore trying to jump off the tiger. So from that moment onwards, you are not interested even in helping the people and tell them, you see, jump off the tiger. It won't make any difference to them at all. They have to do it on their own, there is no way that they can do anything. You see, this is my doomed song. Many people say, we are doomed.
Are you
And
doomed?
there is no way you can reverse this course, you see. Not a thing we can do about it. But you see, we have to live in hope and die in hope.
Do you live in hope?
The hope is always in the future, you see. What is there to hope for? What? You see, the moment you use the question how, the whole thing comes into the picture. You see, how and hope are one and the same. We constantly ask this question, how, to get an answer and to know more and more and more. You see, how to shape our lives, how to change our lives, how to be at peace with ourselves, how to live in a peaceful world, how to live in harmony with the world and with the people around us. But that how is born out of the hope that somehow, some way you can know how you can change the whole thing. So the moment the how springs up there, the hope goes with it. There is no how. Somehow, you see, the demand to know is not there in me. That's all that I can say, whether you like it or they like it.
Do you
It makes no
experience
difference to me.
Am I right in assuming that then the concept of altruism would be non-existent in your worldview?
It's sure it is. If there is any situation where something demands, you see, you do it. You see, to me, charity is one of the most vulgar things that the human mind has come up with. We have grabbed, we have taken away everything that belongs to everybody. And who are we to give charity?
That it may be different minds trying to use vocabulary as you are to communicate what is essentially a non-conceptual experience, and you may all be talking about the same thing using different words.
What I want to emphasize and spotlight and focus is a very simple thing. That we are all puppets, you see. And that what is it that is pulling these puppets and play this drama? You call it thought sphere, you call it culture, you call it the fancy phrase, I used it, genetic, morphogenetic field. It really doesn't matter. What I'm trying to emphasize or put across is one basic thing, that there is no individual there at all. There is no individual mind there. You and I have been created by culture, by society, for the simple reason that that is a self-perpetuating mechanism, and it is interested in perpetuating that, maintaining its continuity. So there is nothing here, there is no individual there. The very demand to be an individual is baseless, is false. But yet you see the very same culture that is all the time emphasizing the need to create individuals has created this neurotic situation for us. You see, two things, that there is no individual, but yet you have to be an individual.
It seems to me almost as if you're abdicating responsibility, individual responsibility, to larger, well, I use the word larger with hesitation when talking to you, but external forces. I even get stuck on the word external because you would argue that there really isn't an external agency. But using the vocabulary of most of us, if I may use that, to say that I as an individual am a victim or a participant in a larger societal context, where is the impetus for action or initiative then?
You are a willing victim there. I'm not blaming you, you see. Then when the situation is different, then the question of victim does not at all arise.
Do I have a choice?
You have no choice. You have no choice.
Do I then?
You are part of it, you see. This is all that is there. The world cannot be anything different because you being what you are, how can you expect the world to be different? We are all the time preparing for war, and how can you envisage the possibility of a peace on this planet? You know, flag is here. The flag represents what? As long as I wave my flag here so long, I cannot talk of peace because the other chappie also is waving his flag. So how do you reconcile this situation? Preparing for war all the time and talk of peace. Peace is not something that will descend upon us.
Do you feel optimism or pessimism, or do you feel nothing at all?
I don't think you can fit my statements into either this side or the other side. You see, people say that you are very negative, and all right, you are not negative, you are not pessimistic, you are very optimistic. What does it really mean? An optimistic individual is pushing things, you see, he is using his will, he is using his effort, and he is living in the hope somehow that we will turn this into a paradise and all of us will live in comfort and peace. So what you don't seem to realize is the very idea of creating heaven on this earth is the one that has turned the whole thing into hell. Actually, it is not hell. If we are lucky enough to be freed from all those utopias, the whole idea of a heaven, this will itself will become an extraordinary place to live in.
Would you call yourself a pessimist?
It's up to you to put stick the label on me. I don't know. I don't think in terms of optimism, pessimism at all, negativism or positivism. Many people say that you are very negative. You see, the negative approach is invented by thought because you have totally failed to reach your goal through positive means. You have invented a negative approach, but the goal is a positive goal. So it doesn't matter whether you approach your goal positively or negatively. Is there any such thing? My English is bad now. Anyway, you see, the goal is the most important thing. What we have to do is to free ourselves from the whole value system without replacing that value system with another set of value system. That would be a wonderful place to live. The way the animals are functioning. You see, they don't kill anything for an idea. You see, so they have to survive. One form of life lives on another form of life. That's what we are doing all the time. But you see, if you kill something for any reason other than survival, we are creating this disharmony in this world. And there is no way we can reverse the whole thing. You may call me a pessimist. I am ready to go along with that and carry that label on me.
On the one hand, you speak about the inevitability of processes and the biochemistry of the brain and sort of the vocabulary of the inevitability of life, and at the same time you talk about freeing oneself from a variety of responses, as it were. I don't see how they
there is
coexist.
a difficulty of the language here. I am not suggesting that there is something that you can do to free yourself from. You are already free. And what creates this demand to be free is the one that this has to free itself from. You see, this expresses itself in an extraordinary way, you know. This is something which you cannot even think of creating, but unfortunately, where have we gone wrong? Where have we failed? That's a very natural question for us to ask. Somewhere along the line it occurred in the process of evolution, especially in the human species, what we call self-consciousness. So that separated us from the totality of life around us. Actually, it is one single unit in the whole thing. But this self-consciousness separated us from everything. And it is that is responsible for creating, you see, the whole religious thinking of man. Forgetting that we have created all those things, God, truth, reality, or whatever you want to call it, only as an extension of pleasure. So whether religion has turned us into cowards, or our cowardice is responsible for creating religious thinking of man, is anybody's guess. You see, I'm not against religion at all. You see, all the other systems the human mind has invented are nothing but the warty outgrowths of religion, even communism.
But is it mere semantics when you say that where we have gone wrong, according to your vocabulary, we haven't gone wrong, nothing has gone wrong, and that too there is a value system that it's wrong.
No, this value system that is fitting the events into its framework and says something is wrong.
You're ascribing a value that it's wrong. It's the way
The
it
value
is.
system is wrong, then we wouldn't say that it is wrong, we wouldn't do anything to change anything there. This is a perfect piece of creation, and our value system makes us believe that something is wrong with it, you see. So we superimpose on that all our ideations and meditations and destroy what is something extraordinary that is already there. Whether you see it will continue forever or not, we don't know. Why this was created, what is its purpose, what is going to happen, it doesn't in any way help us to understand whether this whole thing was created
Is
by God.
understanding important?
It is not, you see, we give so much tremendous importance to understand things, to know things. You see, that works in the field of, you see, that camera, you see, that's the only area where, you see, you have to know, you have to get help from somebody to operate, but in the living atmosphere, living situation, the dead thing cannot help us to understand anything.